Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Monday Musings, Danny and Friends SportsWrap. It's always presented by Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. There's 8 locations all around Kansas City, a new one in Raytown. And Dr. Woodle and his fine staff will help you out feel better body, mind, and spirit. And we've got a lot to talk about, and we'll do a lot of the baseball with David Lesky, the Royals part of the baseball, as the Royals pull one out of the fire on Sunday and make it a successful weekend and a successful road trip. And those big moments are stacking up. We'll talk with David about that. We'll have our usual MLB baseball roundup, which we always have a good time with. In Chiefs camp, we've got some injuries to talk about, but deep ball throwing and some other stuff. Little bit on that. Absolutely electrifying Olympic golf. Now, maybe not everybody's a golf fan. Maybe everybody is consuming so many of the Olympic sports. Usually when I go into my queue on DVR, all the Olympics are on the same thing, so I'm trying to pull the golf out, and there's like 75 things I have to go through in order to find it. But in the end, it was certainly worth it. And my wife and I last night, after visiting with some friends, our friends in Topeka, the Millers, it was really a cool visit. And we didn't quite finish all the golf before we left for this nice dinner. And then when we came back, we watched the last hour or so. It was electrifying as the world's best Scotty Scheffler proved why he is, again, in a fantastic finish at the Olympics. And, of course, there's all kinds of other stuff going on, including a poor NBC announcer that you had to feel bad for. He's been doing a great job on track and field, but he miscalled the 100 meters. We'll look at that a little bit. And a whole lot more. We've got a lot today. I'm fighting a little bit of a cold, but hoping to fight through for you on Monday Musings, Danny and Friends Sports Wrap. It's presented by ASFCA.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Always great to catch up with Dr. Brad Woodle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Everybody wants to make every year a great one mentally and physically, and certainly ASFCA can help in that regard.
Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies. We're going to address the body and the mind to keep you in great shape. With winter moving into spring, we don't want to have the opportunity to get hurt or to be slow and not do what we used to do, right?
Absolutely right, and you can do that in a variety of ways.
We can. We love looking at the body and how it moves, looking at the posture and how it holds us to be strong, to be safe, and really to help us do those things we love to do.
The wide variety and range of services you can get helps in that regard at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. 7 locations all around the Kansas City area. Find the one that's most convenient for you. And for more information, visit asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny.
Did you experience hail damage last year and never got the work done? Most insurance companies only give you a year to get the roof fixed. And if you don't get it done, you could possibly not be compensated in full for the replacement of your roof. If you've been procrastinating getting that damaged roof taken care of, give us a call at 913-257-5426, and we'll send out an expert to help you through the process. We're never pushy, we're just here to help. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business to Kansas City's #1 variety podcast, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you. Welcome back to Monday Musings, Danny and Friends Sports Wrap, presented by ASFCA, and our friend that we visit with every couple weeks or so about the Kansas City Royals is David Lesky from Inside the Crown. I am peering at his Monday newsletter right now. That is free, and the rest of his material is behind a pay window, but all you have to do is read the Monday one, and you'll basically want to be a subscriber, that's for sure. And David, I'm going to put it this way, and I put it this way in the open. The Royals are starting to stack up these big moments this year, and one certainly came yesterday down to their last out, last strike, and MJ Melendez hits a home run and pulls what looked like a dud of a game and a dud of a finish to the weekend right out of the fire. We've had a few of these moments, big grand slam, some other timely things, and this is starting to have a little bit of karma to it maybe.
Starting to get that feeling, isn't it? I mean, I think I saw somebody tweet this yesterday too. I can't remember who it was, so apologies. But the Denny Matthews quote from 2014, the thing, when it's your year, you win these games. And I mean, there are not many seasons the Royals win yesterday's game. There are a lot of seasons they lose Saturday's game, but there are not many seasons they win yesterday's. And it feels like they got a little something. I mean, what did they score? It was 30 runs on the road trip in the 7th inning or later. I mean, that is a trait. Yes, bad. I'm not saying the Tigers or White Sox are good, but that is a trait of good teams, is that when the game gets later, they start to pile on. And yeah, big moments. Melendez has had a bunch of big moments this year. For a guy hitting whatever he's hitting, 193, 180, whatever it is, to be able to look back on multiple signature moments might be an indication it's your year. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and yesterday was one of those days where, a couple of the big guys don't hit, and it doesn't look like you're going to get anything done. But what they got, again, was good starting pitching. And when you have good starting pitching, even if you don't hit, you're going to be in the game, and it's going to make the late innings significant. Yeah,
I mean, look, we talk about the quality start stat, and I've said this before, but 6 innings, 3 runs is a 4.5 ERA. You're not excited about that. But first of all, it can be better than that. But I mean, if you get through 6 innings with 3 runs allowed, you are less than a grand slam away, even if you're being no hit through 6 innings. And if you're within 3 runs, you're in the game. There is never a time when you're not in a game within 3 runs. You're not going to win them all for sure, but yeah, the starting pitching keeps the team in the game, and it allows them to have those big moments in the late innings. That's part of why we wouldn't have seen this last year, because it wouldn't have been 2-0. It would have been 8-0,
right?
or more, or worse, And so that can't get lost. And even, I mean, I think Michael Wacha deserves a lot of credit, because he was not very good yesterday, but gave up 2 runs over 6 innings. I mean, he walked 4 guys. He only struck out 2. I mentioned this in the newsletter. I think there might be an issue with him and Michael Lorenzen back to back. They can figure that out, but he gutted through that to get through 6 innings, and it's did he get pulled in the 6th? He might have gone 5-2. I can't remember now, but no, Lorenzen got pulled. Wacha went 6, and it saved the game. It gave the Royals an opportunity to win that game in the top of the 9th.
The Royals won easily on Friday night, and then Saturday, it looks like it's going to be, a good day, and then they do the thing that becomes a little bit easier, obviously, to do if you don't produce as the road team with the automatic runner. But still, they spit up 3 leads. That one hurt, but it would have hurt a lot more, as you mentioned in the newsletter, if they hadn't done what they did on Sunday. That was one of the reasons it was a big deal. But it was another indication that Matt Quattro and his staff are going to have to mix and match and look at the bullpen and make adjustments, and maybe some of these new guys that they have are going to get the first crack at being really the people who pitch when it really matters.
Yeah, it's a tough spot they're in, because the bullpen just hasn't produced, and it's a combination of guys who have done it before and aren't doing it, guys who have never done it before and aren't doing it, and then there are a few guys who, like Sam Long and Lucas Erceg. Erceg's made 3 appearances for the Royals, so we'll see how that goes. I love the look of it, and I think that they gave up enough, and he was pretty clearly a huge acquisition at the deadline. He's going to be a big part of this bullpen. Sam Long is the guy who I think has stepped up in a way that nobody ever would have expected. But if you look at the hierarchy of the bullpen, I think your big 3 right now are Sam Long, Lucas Erceg, and Hunter Harvey, which Hunter Harvey is giving people some flashbacks to Brandon Maurer right now. but then also Chris Bubich is in there, and Angel Serpa. 4 of those 5 weren't with the team to start the year. They have shuffled in a big way, and there was a lot of hate. I don't want to say hate. Hate's the wrong word, but a lot of disdain on social media toward James McArthur, and deserved, by the way. He's been terrible for the better part of the last 2 weeks, but I think it's important to remember Matt Quatrero went to 4 other guys in a leverage spot before he had to go to McArthur, because it was into the 11th inning. Right. And his choices were really McArthur, Stratton, or Will Smith. I don't think any of them are the right choice, because, And the reason it wasn't on Helzerpa is because he's been pretty bad on back-to-back days. He needs rest, and so does Chris Bubic, which that's not a great trait for guys who you think should be among your best relievers, that you probably can't pitch them back-to-back days.
Yeah, and to me, Hunter Harvey certainly looks the part, and you pointed that out in the newsletter as well, and he's got the stuff, but his performance in his career really has never added up to that.
Well, but he was really good for the Nationals the last 2 years, and then to start the season. And then something happened at the beginning of June. Because going into June with the Nationals, and I mean, this is getting to be a selective endpoint thing, but
right.
he had an ERA that was, I mean, I think it was around 3. I think it might have been just under, maybe just over, whatever. 27% strikeout rate, like 7% walk rate. I mean, this is a guy who all the numbers point to, okay, this is a back of the bullpen reliever, whether it's a 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever. And then he started to struggle a little bit. And there are two schools of thought. One, is he slumping? Pitchers slump too. I mean, it happens. We saw Josh Hader. Was it last season?
Well, he was terrible early. He was terrible early this year too.
And he was terrible early again this year too. Yeah. No, it was 2 years ago when he got traded. That's what it was. It was right after he got traded to the Padres. He was just
he gave up home runs every day. Yeah,
pretty much. And then he righted the ship. And then started this year, not quite as bad as that, but pretty miserable. And then he's righted the ship since then too. And so reliever slump, it happens, and it's magnified because it's the late innings. It's usually important situations. Also, there's not a whole lot of time. Look, I mean, Michael Wacha goes out and gives up a 2 spot in the first inning, and he's got 5 to 7 more innings to bounce back. Hunter Harvey gives up 2, and he's done. That's the end of his game. He doesn't have the rest of the time to balance out those numbers. So it's magnified out of the bullpen. And so that's the hope for the Royals, is that this is a slump. The other side of it is that it could very well be that, look, this guy, he had a lot of injury issues early in his career. He got converted to the bullpen by the Orioles, but then really got his first chance with the Nationals after he'd been let go. Journeyman type guy. Now, he didn't pitch for enough teams to be a journeyman, but that type of pitcher. And then found himself big fastball. Obviously, the splitter is really good when it's on. But I mean, there's a chance that maybe he's just not long for a big league career. Some guys, they're flashes, and that's the other side of it. And that's what the Royals don't know yet. They're banking on it being a slump, but we'll see. And I think it's funny because I've gotten a lot of comments this morning that, oh, he looked terrible yesterday too. Well, he gave up an 82-mile-per-hour single, and then yes, a line drive found a glove. Pitchers get line drives to find gloves all the time. I think the important thing is he got the job done yesterday. And if some of this is a slump, that means some of it's mental too. And just having success in that situation is huge for him, I think.
I just have an inkling that by the time we get to September, Lucas Erceg is going to be closing games. But that's just me.
Probably. I mean, I don't even know if it's going to be. It might be tonight.
Right.
But I do think that it's interesting because then you get into the situation of, well, would you rather have him pitching the biggest spot,
right?
Whether it's the 7th, 8th, or 9th, or do you want to save him for the 9th? Because if they had used Harvey in the 8th with the plan to use Erceg in the 9th on Saturday, and Harvey has that inning or worse, they don't even get to Erceg. And then you go, well, they didn't even get to their best reliever. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't, I think.
Right. And, of course, this game in this series ended the stretch, and the Tigers sold some pieces off, so they were kind of a compromised team, although they've played decent ball this year, disappointing by what their expectations were. But now we get big boy baseball, and actually the Royals are a big boy compared to just about everybody. But this is a really big series with the Red Sox. Now it becomes a little less, sort of hyper important because you did win the game and didn't blow the game on Sunday. But they're the team that's closest. The Astros have not found the traction that they looked like they had, so they're a pretty healthy 4 games back. So the Red Sox are the team to worry about right now, and you've got them in your park.
Yeah, this is an opportunity to